Greetings, everyone. My name is Interville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Super Mega Man 2. During the last part, I completed the intro stage and defeated all 8 of the Robot Masters. So now, I'm going to visit the shop, purchase some items, and then head off into the Wily stages. Now, we have the conventional Extra Live and E-Tanks, but we also have the half damage power-up, which does exactly what it says on the tin, and the Beat Strike, which will strike all enemies on screen. But I won't be using them that much. Anyway, here's Dr. Wily's stage, and we have a very fast map intro, so fast that the music doesn't actually complete itself. And for the first Wily stage, we have an amalgamation of several stage tile sets and elements from the main 8 Robot Masters. I mean, over here we already have a combination of Emberman and Featherman stages. Although the meshing of these elements is quite, as you can see, it's very abrupt. Here's Psych Man. I mean, it directly cuts from one element to the other. Here was Spirit Man, and here was Hurricane Man. Or not really Hurricane, I kind of mix up the bosses. And here's Jolt Man. As you can see, there's a very abrupt change between each of the level elements. There's no room transition, so it's very strange seeing a background change this abruptly. But at least we have references to all the stage gimmicks. Here's Sludge Man's element, and we have representation of all 8 stages, so that's nice. Although I feel it should have been at least twice as long, as we're right at the boss now. If we had at least 2 or 3 screens dedicated to each level remix, that would have been better, but we only have 1 or 2 right now, so it makes it really short. Oh, by the way, it's not really apparent, other than the sound of explosions in the background, but you're being chased by a stage boss, similar to the Mecha Dragon in Mega Man 2, so keep on running to the right. And make sure to jump on one of the upper 2 platforms, otherwise you'll fall into the pit from this thing that's chasing us and deleting the platforms. Okay, and this thing is the boss of this stage. That arm, or I'll call it an arm apparatus, it's slowly moving around the screen in a rectangular arc. And it'll block all of your shots. The weak point of this boss is aiming at the head, and just like any other boss, it has no invincibility frames. But as you damage it more and more, that blaze orb that it fires at you will get bigger and bigger, making it harder and harder to dodge. Your best bet is to keep spamming shots when you're on the lower platform here. Just spam your Mega Buster. And if you really want to, get on the upper platform on the top left and use a Feather Shot. Here's Wily Stage 2, and I hate this initial background. I mean, you can get through it fine enough, but the contrast between the stage, the solid elements in the background can be hard to distinguish, so it's quite grating on the eyes, at least for me. And we have Guts Man statues on the top for some reason. But yeah, this is quite grating on the eyes, and I wish we had a more distinct difference between the palettes. But I do like that we have an escalation of challenges, although, in retrospect, the first Wily stage wasn't that difficult. As I said, it really should have had more screens dedicated to each of the level. Now, Wily Stage 2 has the rematches against each of the mini-bosses. So we have the boss from Hurricane Man stage, this time with a less glitchy intro. And yeah, that orb didn't get destroyed. And those cannons seem like the only custom enemy in this Fangame, although it seems like they were taken from Mega Man 8, looking at the graphics. Although, the fire sprites were taken from Mega Man 2, using those whatever those living flames are called. And yeah, I'm fighting fire with fire. This is one of the useful uses of Ember Rain. As long as you can orient it so 2 more projectiles will hit the foe, then it's useful. Otherwise, they're better weapons that can more easily dispatch these enemies. But with that, we're at the boss. Yeah. Oh, well, not the boss. At least this stage, compared to the first one, has some meat to it, and has some interesting level gimmicks. Or at least a big enough stage. But here's the Flame Dragon from Emberman stage. It's a lot more precarious here, mainly because I can't really dodge as well. One more hit will be the end of me. But it makes it a little bit easier because of all these platforms which didn't exist in the original fight. And as you may have noticed, getting rammed by it only deals 2 points of damage. Which I didn't really make apparent in the previous part, but enemies in this game don't really deal that much damage to you, so you can tank a lot of blows pretty easily. This is why in a lot of boss fights I'll just face tank a lot of enemies and just rapidly fire my special weapons or use the Mega Buster. Combined with the invincibility frames, you can easily decimate most of the foes. Well, Mega Man's invincibility frames and the enemy's complete lack of invulnerability frames. Here I'm taking the right route. There isn't really much of a distinction between taking the left or right routes. Oh, and another interesting note about using the sludge bomb is that during an explosion, it'll block most of projectiles. Fun fact, although it doesn't really come that useful. And yeah, got killed by that Sniper Joe. That Sniper Joe does fire a lot faster than the normal set of Sniper Joes, as you may have noticed, but they deal only 1 or 2 points of damage, so that balances itself out. So here I'm taking the left path, which is almost a mirror of the right path. Well, it basically is a mirror. Now for some reason there's a boss gate on the left side, which kinda confused me at this point as I thought I missed something. So I decided to walk into it, but surprise surprise, it's not solid at all, it's just there. I feel like the creator with -1 was going to add something over there. But here's the boss. Well, not yet. Now we have to refind the Blue Brakeman, who hasn't changed up his strategy at all. So yeah, fight him the same way as you did the 2 times before. A large empty room for some reason. I mean, I understand why it was empty for the boss fight, or mini-boss fight, but this was kind of an excess. Okay, here's the boss, which I make look much more difficult than it really is. You can slide under the robot to avoid all these, the spread of all these tree projectiles. But the main weakness of the boss is its head, so jump on the top of these floating platforms and keep shooting the boss and, well, it'll die. No need to use weaknesses as it falls pretty easily. And don't slide too far, otherwise you'll skew yourself on the spikes. So, yeah, not much else to say. I kinda botched it because I couldn't jump through the platforms correctly, but if you can do it, you can easily take it out in under 10 seconds. Here's the boss rematch stage. Of course, this time I'll try using Robot Master weaknesses. Hurricane Man's weakness is the Feather Shot, which I didn't actually realize at this point because I kinda forgot what the Robot Master weaknesses were. But of course, as I have infinite weapon energy, it's not much of a big deal. And yeah, this was a serious issue that was fixed in the Super Mega Man 3, the infinite weapon energy. Here's Sludge Man. Sludge Man is weak against the Hurricane Burst. Fitting really, as that's the only weapon that can fire directly downwards. And considering that, well, Sludge Man moves left and right from the screen, especially when he throws the bombs, having the ability to jump or fire downwards and get an extra jump height, it's quite useful, especially you can now easily hit him without getting hit yourself when he's moving. So it makes sense there. I took a brief pause over here just to make sure everything was working. I was worried about lag. Here's Jolt Man. I didn't really figure out until now, but he's weak against the Sludge Bomb. So yeah, just go right into him and face tank. As I was saying earlier, you can destroy those electric orb barriers by using either the Warp Shot or the Psychic Waves. Which means that, well, you can just destroy the barriers, get to the bottom when he moves over there, and just spam the Sludge Bomb or your Mega Buster and he'll die very fast. Yeah, and I died here, but I don't lose that much progress, so I just left it in. It was at this point where I realized the Sludge Bomb takes a lot of his health away. Yeah, 5 shots and he's dead. 5 or 6. Plus no invincibility frames, and yeah, he's mowed down. In addition to the Robot Masters not having invincibility frames and being mostly easy to take care of using the Mega Buster, well, with their weaknesses, they go down very fast. Psychic Man, as you saw there, was weak against the Spirit Boomerang, and yeah, not much else to say here. Now, Warp Man's weakness is kind of annoying because it's actually the Ember Rain. Remember what I was saying earlier about timing your projectile, the projectile? When Warp Man teleports, as you see here, and he has the Warp Orb on the left and right parts of the screen, the Ember Rain can hit both of them at the same time, dealing double damage. This is ideally when you want to actually throw the Ember Rain, which I didn't really do, but otherwise it's easy to take care of. If you don't want to deal with the Ember Rain's delay, I suggest just using the Spirit Boomerang, Sludge Bomb, or just your Mega Buster. I think that'll deal with him faster. Here's Spirit Man, who's weak against the Warp Shot. As you can see, it just completely destroys him. Yeah, for half the bosses, the Robot Master weaknesses are pretty devastating. Yeah, I feel like the way the Robot Master weaknesses were kind of based off the base Mega Buster shot power. Like if your Mega Buster dealt 2 points of damage to the boss, the Robot Master weaknesses would also deal twice as much. Here's Ember Man, who's weak against the Psychic Waves. Yeah, at least he didn't go down too fast. Really, the only boss who is annoying to fight with their weakness is Warp Man. And here's Featherman. Featherman is weak against the Jolt Shocker, which I didn't really show off in this part, sorry. What it does is, once it hits a wall, it'll split up into two beams traveling upwards and downwards, similar to the Elect Beam. And that's about it. We defeated all 8 bosses very easily, so now it's time to move on to the last segment of the stage, which is quite unique, as I don't really see it in many fan games. I know I saw a similar segment in Brian Man's stage of Dr. Wily's final attack, but that was vertical. Essentially, we have mirrored Mega Man. The left one is the real one, the right one is the fake one. We need to traverse through these obstacles, and all of the spikes, well, instant death traps and platforms on both sides are, well, visible and actually exist, so you need to look at the left and right parts of the screen in order to survive and traverse the platforms safely. It's a nice gimmick, but I wish more Mega Man fan games actually took advantage of it. I mean, I haven't really saw Mirror Man yet, and it seems like quite a unique Robot Master to battle. At least Dr. Wily's final attack actually experimented with this in Brian Man's stage. A little bit strange over there. But yeah, the boss at this stage is Bass. Bass says that he has gotten stronger, but in reality I feel like he's gotten much weaker. Bass fights almost like the Dr. Wily 2 alien, or Mega Man 2 Dr. Wily alien. He travels in a figure 8 pattern, and once he's on the on the lower circle, on the top left part of the lower circle, he'll fire a string of 3 bullets at your current position. The thing is though, he takes 2 points of damage from each shot, and like all bosses, he has no invincibility frames. He dies very easily. And there's Dr. Wily's new creation. The giant mech, the Phoenix, which he's going to take out on the city to destroy it, or wreak havoc. So on to the final stage. And we have some suspicious generosity of video games. All of these pop-up cannons will guarantee drop a full energy pickup. If you need it, but your life energy is refilled to max anyway. Alright, here's the first half of the final boss fight. Dr. Wily said that he's found Mega Man's weakness, not being able to shoot downwards. Now, this would be the case, as we can't really use the Hurricane Burst safely. And, well, we can't really shoot him there, but unfortunately, here's the main weakness. There's a slight platform at the nose of the Phoenix, so you can stand over here and shoot at it. Just make sure that you avoid Dr. Wily's missiles, otherwise you'll get thrown into the pit. The weakness is the Jolt Shocker, of course, and that's it. Now onto the much tougher second part of the final boss. In this one you have free aerial movement in all 4 cardinal directions, and the Phoenix uses stronger versions of almost all the Robot Master weapons. You can only attack it when its mount glows. Just be sure to attack it when on the lower part, as it'll fire that pink laser. Alright, first it'll fire those embers to the bottom, fire 3 spirit boomerangs, and then fire several feather shots, which will then home in on you after a while. And then when it moves its tail, it'll fire a hurricane burst upwards. It'll fire that solar orb or shot at your current position, and then it'll fire several bouncing psychic waves. There's a lot to take into account, but it follows a strict pattern like all other bosses, so it's not too bad. Also, as you may have noticed, even if you die, you're immediately taken back good. You immediately respawn with full health and the enemy doesn't regain any health. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Dodging the feather shot is one of the hardest attacks considering how many projectiles there are and how they home in on you. But considering that if you have a lot of lives, you have instant respawn, not to mention you have E-tanks, he's a cinch to take care of. But yeah, those spirit boomerangs do a ton of damage. One of the only few attacks that actually deal a lot of damage to Mega Man in this game. Yeah, I had to figure out the specific button to use the E-tank. And contrary to the noise, it's not dealing any damage, but now it is. So yeah, there goes the Phoenix, and yeah, that was a kind of a Kaizo hit. But surprise, Dr. Wily actually freezes Mega Man using a charge shot, and he was going to destroy him using, well, the Phoenix's final blow. But surprise, Blue Proto Man and Proto Man make it just in time. Proto Man from his vacation, and the Phoenix somehow crashes somewhere into the city, destroying several blocks. Yeah, I wonder what all the casualties and destruction happened over there. I don't remember exactly robot masters or robots crashing into populated areas in the main Mega Man titles. But yeah, that was Super Mega Man 2 by M3HDIOO, or 00, or as they're known now as -1 of Game Jolt. Well, the main reason I wanted to play this title was to show the progression from this to Super Mega Man 3, which is almost, I would say, an overall improvement in all regards from this title. If I were to give one word of this game, or 2 words to describe this game, it would say, needs improvement, or meh. There are just a lot of weird oddities, like the physics of making Mega Man move almost twice as fast, as well as sliding, the fact that no enemies have invincibility frames and Mega Man only does, and the bosses being pushovers and following a very strict pattern. Yeah, there's a lot of oddities in this game that were ironed out in the sequel. But, as my final thoughts, I wouldn't recommend this title. If you wanted to play the Super Mega Man series, play the third title. That's all I would say. Well, I thank you all for watching, and have a nice day. Toodles!